15,000 feet today. This is, we're on day 20, stage 20. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, at one point.
I don't think there's any questioning whether or not. I mean, he's a generational talent. He's arguably one of, if not, even if his record in the Tour doesn't indicate it, you could make the argument that he's one of the top three greatest riders of all time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast. Feels like the Bell Lap. You remember that? That's what, the old criterium days. One to go, right? You come around, you do, the criterion was 30 laps, 50 laps, whatever. You come around, Bell Lap, one to go. Today's Bell Lap. Got the time trial tomorrow. We are talking about stage 20. Alain?
Stage 20 from Nice to Col de la Couillole. From Nice to Col de la Couillole.
I feel like he was getting, maybe towards the end of the recordings, he was late for something. See how fast he said that? Was he?
Yeah,
he was in a hurry.
Say it fast.
That was quick, unless the guys back there sped it up. He got to the end, he's like, I gotta go.
You've done most of those climbs.
I've done all of them. I don't think that I've done the final climb, but every other one. I mean, for example, Col de Braus, Col de Torini. If I had to guess how many times I've ridden Braus and Torini, it's probably from both directions. It's probably 300 times, maybe more. I mean, that's the backyard, right?
You remember the town at the bottom of Braus?
Sospel?
Yeah, beautiful town.
See, I remember these things.
Yeah, that was a test.
I think it's the best bike riding. I get asked all the time, like, where is the best bike riding in the world? People just ask that. And that's my what you saw today on television is my answer. Now, keep in mind, I mean, it looked hectic and frantic, lots of spectators. Usually, if you folks just go over on a bike trip, you could go, some of those climbs, you could go 45 minutes and not see a car, not see another rider. Like you're really in the sticks.
Yep.
And if you drove a car, you'd be 30, 45 minutes from right in the center of Nice. It's so
consistent weather.
You can ride into 3 different countries within an hour.
Yep.
France, Monaco, Italy.
Yep, that's right. Tadej Pogačar, his 5th stage win. We're going to talk about it. I know I was a little tough on Tadej yesterday. I will not be tough on him today. I thought that's the way. I mean, look, he just sat back and almost like he was, and you even saw Jonas sort of nodding like, yeah, no, I can't. I'm not coming around. Like he didn't have it. But before we do, today's show brought to you by Zwift. We've spoken a fair bit about this over the course of the tour. But in case you missed it, Zwift has just released their first ever smart bike. It's the Zwift Ride. This is a real game changer because it was designed specifically for Zwift by Zwift. Some of the little features that make life easier are mind-blowing. It might seem like a small thing, but this smart bike features totally custom bottle cages. And we got one right here, right off the desk. And they're right. The bottles just kind of sit in there. Zwifting is thirsty work, but one thing is for certain, if you're never going to hit a pothole riding indoors. Because of that, these cages are designed for indoor riding with a super easy drop-in design. It might seem like a small thing, but if they thought about the little details like that, then you can guarantee that Zwift has nailed the big issues and the basics. All of this, by the way, for $12.99.99. That's $12.99.99. And they've thought of everything. That's the point. Head on over to Zwift.com today to find out more about Zwift Ride. Zwift.com. $12.99.99. Also today brought to you by Wahoo. Wahoo bike computers are proven in the Peloton, used by 8 World Tour teams. More features than ever, including Wahoo's Summit feature, providing you with color gradients, detailed climb data, and even helps you detect climbs in your area when you're not using a route. You can also use the mapping feature when you're going downhill. Like, for example, if you did go on a bike trip over there on those roads we saw today, kids, I'm telling you, just when you're going downhill, you don't know where you're going, just put the mapping feature on. You see it right in front of you. They've also got the integration for music and GoPro, which is pretty awesome. Also part of the suite is Speedplay pedals. I've been on them for 12 years now. I switched over for the lightness, the stiffness, the float. I was really keen on the float when I was transitioning from the bike to run in my triathlon days. Back in the day when I did triathlons in my Speedo. I did do a couple of my Speedo. But no, for real, that's it. And also extremely aerodynamic.
Get a lot of shaping down there when doing Speedo. Yes, no.
I would, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Wahoo cycling products are trusted by the Pro Peloton. We see Wahoo's Element Bolt GPS bike computers on the handlebars of 8 World Tour teams. Now you can save 20% off on select full price products by using the coupon code THEMOVE 2024 at checkout. During the tour, go to wahoofitness.com/TheMove. Enter the code THEMOVE 2024. Save 20% off. Also today brought to you by Element. We were just talking about the Zwift bike. It is thirsty work. Whether I'm indoors riding or I'm outdoors riding, it's all thirsty work for me. That's why I trust Element. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. No sugar, no gluten, no artificial ingredients, no BS. It is the real deal. And best of all, if you don't like it, give it to a friend. Element will refund you. They've also got the new Element Sparkling. Now, we usually have a can up here, and I was looking around for a can. Asked the team, where's the can of the Sparkling Element? We don't have any more in the studio. That's how hot this stuff is. Everybody drank it. Everybody in the studio joined the salty revolution.
We're through cases.
Now it's gone. I mean, I know we're towards the end of the tour, but there are no more Element Sparklings here in the studio. Dear Element, please send more because we got the women's tour coming up. You get your free 8-count sample pack with any Element purchase. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/TheMove. That's drinklmnt.com/TheMove. Check out that 8-count sample pack with all the different flavors. 5th stage for Tadej Pogačar. What did I see here on Pro Cycling Stats? 16th Tour de France stage win. I think we'd be foolish to not imagine a world that he gets his 17th tomorrow. I said this a week or so ago because we did see Mark Cavendish break the record. It's not hard to imagine a world where even if he doesn't, he's 25 years old, 25, 26 years old. That's a lot of stage wins.
Yeah, and
at that age.
We've seen what he's done on the uphill finishes in the last couple of days. Put almost 2 minutes on Remco a couple of days, 2 days ago or yesterday, and put a minute on him today. And a lot of this time trial tomorrow's uphill, albeit downhill flat finish, but he's probably going to go up ahead pretty early, and we'll see if Remco can claw his way back in the downhills and flats.
Yeah.
At 25 years, Johan and I were talking about this yesterday. He's in the top, like tied for 6th in most days in yellow. And if you look at the people in front of him, it's like Anquetil, Hinault, Merckx, Froome, like it's the company that's in front of that is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. You know, I know it's tough on him yesterday. I thought, I mean, a day like today, what we saw today, we easily could have seen yesterday. Like, just stay there, and if these guys want to duke it out and attack each other or attack you, we'll go win the sprint. I was not bothered by what I saw today, especially seeing Jonas just basically concede. He just said, I don't have it. I mean, I think he was more interested in countering Remco's attack, which he also should have done, and he did. And he was more interested in putting more time on him, although I think he has a healthy enough cushion for the time trial. He's going to finish second. The other interesting thing that he didn't say, but Matteo Jorgensen said is, and I know it created a bunch of buzz on the Peacock telecast, is talk of an ankle injury. That's new news. I mean,
we hadn't heard that either.
Wouldn't be surprising after the crash he had, some lingering effects, and then you haven't done a race, and then you jump into this Tour de France, which has been so hard, and you just stress everything out. But that's the first time. Here we are on stage 20. Who knows how bad that was affecting him? But this is new news.
Yeah. And speaking of Matteo Jorgensen, he had another great day. I think he was top 10, moved into 7th or 8th overall, so moved up one spot in the overall classification after being in the breakaway all day today. Also of note, Nielsen Paulus was basically shredding the field apart in that first 30, 40 kilometers for Richard Carapaz, who now is the mountain jersey holder, taking that into Nice.
That competition's over.
So even though we didn't come away with the stage win, and the Americans did not, but I think those guys rode a great race. Sean Quinn was always up there as well. It's been great to see how aggressive they are and how major part of the race they have been for their team and for themselves.
So for all of the things that people show up to the tour to compete for, most of them are done, right? The yellow jersey, I think we can all agree is over. The green jersey, Bignan Guermay is locked up. The polka dot jersey, Richard Carapaz has locked up. There is one other thing that we have touched on throughout the race, that people and teams show up as a goal, with a goal as to do a certain thing. I'm going to save it. There's going to be one race tomorrow that we have to watch. And it isn't the one for yellow. It's not the one for green. It's not the one for polka dots. There's one race tomorrow that you got to watch. And I'm going to save it till the end of the show. Also, at the end of the show, or here in a little bit, we teased it out yesterday. We got Bobby Julich coming on, who trains a bunch of these guys, trains a lot of people. And I'm just curious what the hell's going on. Like, these guys are riding. So I'm not that I want to go do that training, because I'm sure it's a lot harder than what we had to do, but love to get his thoughts. Trains Enzo Hincapie.
Yep.
Prepping him for nationals, in a week?
Yeah, Thursday. Less than a week.
In Augusta, Georgia. Enzo's racing nationals in Augusta. George asked me if I'd go. I said, well, if you've got a guy over there that can get me on.
I'm staying right by 500 meters away from the front gates of Augusta.
Like I said, if you got a guy, by the way, a lot of people listening. I know we get offers of jizzies and yizzies. If anybody listening, I'll be there. I promise you, I'll be in Augusta. If you get me on.
What
I don't need to watch a bike race.
Y'all heard.
What age bracket is he in?
15, 16.
15, 16.
Let's go back to Augusta and me playing Augusta National. No, but yeah. So Bobby trains Enzo, and pretty awesome.
Yeah, and go back to the stage today. I thought it was spectacular. Again, we were both a little bit disappointed and critical of Pogačar's win yesterday. Today, like you said, it was just part of the race. There's no reason why he shouldn't have raced that. He won. Quick step, Lotto Sudal, whatever they're called now. Started chasing to try to put Vindigo under pressure, which ultimately ended up catching the breakaway. So it was a race. It was a fair and square race. But to me, it was super exciting to see the top, first place, second place, mountain jersey, third place, finishing top four in that stage. Yep. The hardest stage, one of the hardest stages of the Tour de France. The best guys are still there. As a part of the excitement of the race, sometimes you want to see that breakaway make it. But today I thought it was pretty cool that those four guys were up there battling it out, finishing one by one. And what a great battle it's been.
You guys got to talk about Pogačar's sprint. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that kind of acceleration in a GC battle at the end of a climb. It was wild.
At the end of a day of climbs, right? 4,600 meters of climbing. At the end of
15,000 feet.
15,000 feet today. This is, we're on day 20, stage 20. Yeah, I mean it's amazing.
Yeah, at one point,
I don't think there's any questioning whether or not. I mean, he's a generational talent. He's arguably one of, if not, even if his record in the Tour doesn't indicate it, you could make the argument that he's one of the top three greatest riders of all time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say something else.
I thought Jonas bounced back really good, especially yesterday. Saw how disappointed he was and felt he was playing old tired.
Yep. Slept
good tonight. Was able to counterattack Remco's move. We thought he might have been weakened from yesterday's effort, but it turned out to be the opposite. He rode away from Remco. I was saying with 5K to go, if I was a director, I'd be like, let's start maybe trying to get this stage win instead of putting another 20 seconds onto Remco. You have a comfortable margin going into tomorrow's time trial. Let's think about the stage win. If he would have came away with 2 stage wins, very good for him mentally going into next season. But the way Pogačar sprinted, even if he had sort of saved himself, I don't think he would have beaten him today at that finish line.
Yeah.
No, you think everyone was hoping for the time trial to be a factor in the outcome of but it's not going to be.
It's going to be a factor for one more race in this Tour de France, and I'm saving it, JB. Okay. People, you got to wait around.
One more race.
No. Don't put your readers on. Stop looking around.
Also wanted to point out, Romain Bardet's last Tour de France made the breakaway, went out with a big fight. I mean, last mountain stage of his Tour de France career. It's pretty awesome that he still made the breakaway. Won the first stage, obviously, in Italy. Said he struggled after that. I can imagine, wearing the yellow jersey after the first stage of the Tour de France. At his stage of his career, I'm sure that was a big pressure let off. Struggled a bit after that, but today he wanted to keep fighting. Tried to make, and he made the breakaway. Made it there till the end. A great ride for him. An amazing career, Roman, and congratulations.
I think he's, if he's had a great career.
Yeah.
And certainly for a French rider in a country like France, which, really cherishes cycling, he, if you look at the French Cycling Hall of Fame, I think he goes down in the Hall of Fame for French cycling. He's had a long, great career, and he fought to the end. And what a great way to go out, right? And we sort of followed his story, and not just in the Tour de France. He's had results in a lot of other big races. And it's a guy who can ride out the rest of his life as certainly one of the best French riders.
Yeah, still young too. He's only like 32, 33 years old. But nowadays these guys are, you think he's been around forever, but he's not that old. But all these guys winning the Tour de France now are 24, 25 years old. I mean, the age bracket has come down significantly.
All right, we're going to jump into Bobby here. But before we do, today's show brought to you by, and I didn't say this at the top, dang it, I'm getting tired. As I say, most days at the top of the show, each and every day brought to you by Ketone IQ. We often hear that fasting and exercise are good for the brain. HVMN launched the world's first drinkable ketone in 2017. Ketone IQ is their latest innovation on ketones with better taste, effectiveness, and cost. While I'm sitting here doing this, screw it. No, what? Who's giving me empty? How much are we? We're out of element. Although I was about to hit some ketones up in his. We're on Peacock today, so we have to be careful.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
Drats. You're going to use all your
dead gummit. Woo! Got me some Ketone IQ. You know what that just gave me? Sustained energy, focus, and sharpness. By the way, the riders of Beast Melissa Bite, exclusive users of Ketone IQ, 30% off your first subscription order plus a free 6-pack when you use the link ketone.com/themove. Also today brought to you by eCoy, new partner of ours. They are a leading brand in Europe specializing in cycling equipment from head to toe. One of the few brands that truly develops its products in close collaboration with pro athletes across all disciplines, road cycling, triathlon, gravel, and mountain bike. It is the most represented brand in this Tour de France with 4 teams wearing the products. How about that? The products are exclusively available online, and that's the only place you're going to get them. So, that is over at eCoy, EKOI.com. And it just made me think of something. Like our friends over in Eritrea, I heard today that people in Eritrea don't have the internet. Oh. I have no idea what that means, but somebody told me that. So I don't know how they're going to go to ecoy.com, maybe through their mobile device, but exclusively available online. It's getting, we're on day 20. I'm tired. The entire eCoy website is currently on sale until the end of July with discounts of up to 60%. It's hard to find better deals. Special offer with the code THEMOVE. You get $15 off any purchase of $150 or more. That's over at ecoy.com, EKOI.com. By the way, eCoy based right down in the south of France, right where the tour is finishing. They're based just outside of Cannes. So this is
I didn't know that.
Yep. Little known fact. Hey George, guess who's back?
Who?
Our friends at The Feed are back to keep us hydrated and fueled throughout the Tour de France.
Mosca.
Listen, here's the thing about The Feed, and I say this every year. The Feed has been with us for a long time.
Yes, they have.
And I literally kick myself that I didn't think of this idea. It is that good of an idea.
We both kick ourselves.
How much do you like eating the same stuff every day in, day out, gels, bars, chews in the Tour?
Oh, definitely get a bunch of flavor fatigue, especially at this point in the Tour de France.
Well, The Feed is back, and for those who don't know, it is the largest online marketplace for sports nutrition. You can pretty much buy whatever you want.
Yep, I love buying single servings of everything. When I get my feed box, I usually have a couple different gels, a couple different hydration options as well.
The Feed will have some pretty great deals for all 21 stages of the Tour, starting with their Tour de France pack.
Oh, I just got my full musette bag of.
Do you get a new one every day that we talk about this?
Yeah, I do. 10, 11 different products. Some of my favorites like Honey Stinger. Got some great gels in there. Scratch Labs. Yeah, we got a bunch of yummies in there. Bunch of goodies.
Yeah. Well, and George can. It's been 3 weeks, so he can even count this. It's 11 products for $21. That's about 50% off. Plus, you get the free Feed musette bag and a limited edition tour bottle. All you got to do is head on over to thefeed.com. You'll see the pack right there. Thefeed.com. All right, should we talk to
Bobby J? He's in the room waiting.
He's in the room.
Yep.
He's in the virtual room. I wonder how's his injury doing? I guess we'll get a report.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here.
Bobby J.
Oh,
How you doing, guys?
wait, hold on. Time out. Bobby, could you just move over a little bit? I don't know about the photo in the background. Folks, if you're listening to the show, just hit pause right now. You got to go over to YouTube.
That's awesome.
Bobby, just please slide over just a little bit. Oh, no.
That's so
Remember this guy?
Oh, my God.
George with his bro and headband. Yeah.
Yeah.
What year? What was this?
I think that was December of '91, pre-Olympics. We had the Skittles jersey. Yeah. Good times. We've kind of known
What
each other
day
quite a
in
while.
December of 91? Because you're so precise, Bobby.
You are.
That was December 17th of 1991.
At 1:03 p.m.
But seriously, and Jeff, by the way, a shout out to Jeff Evanshine in that photo too. Was the junior world champion?
Yeah.
Huh?
Exactly. That was
Did you put that up just to mess with us?
I must admit it was on another wall. I just figured that I figured that it would be appropriate to put on for this.
Bobby,
Thanks for so long.
Thanks for doing this. I'm just FYI, this was my idea. We were biking the other day, and I had George and we were on single track, and I had him behind me, thank God. And I said, we can still talk when you're going uphill in single track. And I said, we should have Bobby on. And I think he was breathing kind of hard, but he said yes. But I am genuinely curious. We're seeing these performances that are, I mean, look, the numbers don't lie. You go to the times on the climbs. You look at what was it? Pogačar 3 minutes faster than Pantani, 5 minutes faster than me. I mean, they are, bottom line, so much faster. And I'm just so like, what has changed? I know a lot has changed.
Well, not just one person breaking records.
No, yeah, exactly.
A dozen.
One day,
breaking the
13 guys beat my time. Like, if you had to point to one thing in terms of training, is it load? Is it intensity? What is it that you think is different from 2024 to just call it 2004?
That's pretty easy. I think everything starts with fueling. Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I know we didn't fuel enough, especially during the training. And that's where you get the benefits, right? Mm-hmm. So these guys are able to fuel better, recover faster so that they can take on more of a workload. Like they have to develop their mitochondria, right? They have to improve their glycogen storage capacity. They have to increase their stroke volume, their plasma volume, their muscle capillarization. And you do that so much better when you're actually recovered. But I don't know about you guys, but I always used to think that when I was riding poor, I needed to eat less and train more. Right. Yep. And now I think it's the opposite.
Yeah. So it's not a difference in load or intensity, because we didn't train that intense. We trained a lot, but we sort of reserved the intensity for the races since we raced more than these guys do now. And we've heard about the fueling, and it's probably worth talking about that. This isn't something that you can just decide to go and do. They actually have to train their body to be able to be able to deal with that sort of caloric and carbohydrate load. Like if any of us went out, I don't know what the number is, like 100 grams of whatever per whatever, like we would get sick. If your gut would not be able to tolerate that. So is that part of it too? Just like training the gut?
Oh, absolutely. You can't go from 0 to 100 grams an hour just overnight. But the other thing that I think we have to talk about is just the lactate clearing capacity that these riders just seem to be. I mean, you take that higher and higher, and how do they do it? They're going so much faster. Like you said, up Plateau de Bay, he took 3.5 minutes out of Pantani, and I was in that race, and we were basically sprinting for 14 of the 15 kilometers of that. So, these riders are fueled so well so that they're able to do that training that creates that lactate, and then they're able to clear that lactate faster. But, back in the day, I had access to a lot of amazing riders' files, and we came up with a model for Tour de France potential winners. And I got it right here. And honestly, I can just throw it out. I mean, it just doesn't make sense anymore. I remember back in the day, you saying that you did 500 watts up Col de Madone.
Yep.
So, and that was 7 watts per kilo, right? So I did that. That was 500 watts, 7 watts per kilo. So that means you're like around 72 kilos, right?
Yeah.
Pogačar, to do what he's doing, because he's so much lighter, he still has to do 462 watts.
Oh, Lord.
You see the way that he's producing the watts with that high RPM, kind of like you used to. You know, I mean, I think you really changed the world with, you know, watching you and Jan ride side by side. It was just totally different. So I don't know what Tade is doing besides whatever he's doing it right. His support team is dialed. The people around him are dialed. And, you know, it just looks like it's so easy for him. You saw the faces of all the other guys on the climb, and he just looked like he was whistling Dixie the whole time.
Yep. Yeah. And by the way, 462 watts for him at threshold, or 462 watts for 30 minutes. Yes, it was actually 495 that time I did it on the Madone for 30 minutes. I knew I'd be ready to win the tour. Had it been I ended up winning that tour by, I think, 7 minutes. Had it been 462 at my heavier weight, well, that still would have won the tour.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Tadej Pogačar's 135, 140 pounds. So it makes that's, as we have discussed on here, it is the power that you can generate for some sustained amount of time, and how much you weigh, how much your package weighs, the body, the bike, the whole thing. I mean, it's
Bobby. How do they keep up with that mentally? I mean, are they eating at all for pleasure now, or is it all for fueling? Is it, because from what I'm hearing, like the occasional glass of wine or the carrot cake, that's not happening anymore. It's all being measured, and it's just part of. I mean, how do you keep up with that mentally in a race like the Tour de France when you're suffering so much as it is, and sometimes you're thinking about, I just want that carrot cake tonight, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, tell me.
It's the timing. It's the timing of when they're eating that carrot cake, right?
Okay.
Like if it's in the middle of a ride and you're low in glucose, and glycogen needs to be replenished, like eat that sugar. Right after the race, you see so many guys just grabbing that bag of Haribos and just woofing it down. It's like
the jelly bellies, or the gummy bears, as we call them over here.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the timing of that. And these kids are so educated and so used to doing this. I remember you, George, regime, when you had to go drop weight from your classics weight to riding on the front for Lance in the Tour, I don't know if you have the healthiest relationship with food.
No, probably not back then. No, definitely not back then.
And now they have these nutritionalists and these cooks and these private chefs, and with Visma, they last year, at least when they had Jumbo, they were getting their meals shipped to them, so it was so much easier.
Even before the tour, right?
Yeah. So I don't think it's that big of a strain for them, because they've just learned it in a totally different way than our generation did. I mean, we were kind of on regime or off regime.
Yeah.
And there was really no middle ground there.
By the way, I did see George eating some gummy bears the other day.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Man. Directly after.
Well, no,
I saw
it was late in the evening.
Oh, no, yeah, that's probably not the best.
Hey, Bobby, let me ask you something about recovery tools. You mentioned mitochondria a bit ago. Is something like NAD plus even allowed?
I don't think it's allowed. Well, you could take it orally. You wouldn't be able to have it in an IV.
You can't do anything in an IV, but that's kind of a new tool for rebuilding.
Yeah, good point.
Are there any things like that, or do they use that?
I can't comment on what they're using.
I knew that was coming. Bobby's like, wait, you're breaking up, JB.
But there's just so many more useful recovery things out there compared to us. We had massage. That was about it. And now with the ice baths, with the compression boots, with checking your HIV and of course your nutrition, there's just so many new little data points out there that these guys are aware of. And it's that combination of all those things, which I think is just allowing these riders to get faster and faster. But honestly, I am in awe of how fast.
We're with you on that.
What about this latest talks about this carbon rebreathing? Explain this thing. Did you not read about that, Bobby?
I don't read a lot.
Yeah. I saw that article. I don't know enough to comment on that, but I was actually texting back with Christian, and he said, back in the day, we used to do that at the Olympic Training Center as a test, but not as trying to improve performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of new technology out there that we didn't have at our disposal when we were riding. That's for sure.
Bobby, can anybody train with you, or do you just train like elite people? Anybody?
No,
like some nerd out there that wants to ride faster.
He's got some people out there that aren't pros.
Well, let's send them that way.
He's got
all you nerds who want to go faster.
In the curated group. You think I'm
whatever.
Bougie?
Let's make it harder for him to curate.
He has some bougie clients.
All right. Well, how do we? Is Bobby'sBougieTraining.com? How do people go find you?
Yeah, I kind of truncated my client list this year because I had a job that I thought I was going to really take off. And I think you guys know that company that I was working for that temporarily ceased operations. So you can contact me through any of my socials.
There we go.
I appreciate that shout out.
No, but I was kidding about the nerd part.
And he's got a great
even with you. I know I've called you a nerd a couple times on here.
I was looking for my propeller hat, but I couldn't find it. I thought I had it here.
It's a term of endearment.
Hey, if you've seen this guy dance to the Beastie Boys, you wouldn't call him a nerd. Let's just say that.
I know this guy a long time.
Hey, I have another question for Bobby since my last one was a bust. So you said you work with like Enzo, and I was talking to Johan. His son Christian was out racing, and Johan was like, it's not just at this elite level with all these tools and things like that. He said that the 15-year-olds are way faster than they were when he was that age, when you guys were that age. You're working with kids like in that age grade. They're just faster all around. So when they become 20, they're way ahead.
Actually, we have an exclusive contract with Bobby. He's working with one kid.
Really?
I'm kidding.
That would not surprise me.
I like to think that, but maybe maybe it is true, maybe not. I don't know.
George plays this nice guy, and then comes to somebody training his kid. He says, "All right, listen, like you're only training one kid, and it's mine."
Well, I think we're a good team, George. Yeah. You, me, Christian, Rich. George only allowed Enzo to get a power meter in what was that, the middle of last year?
Yeah. Like
so
a year ago.
He wanted to keep him away from that data. And now that he's gotten one, he's just kind of taking it to a different level. But I mean, having the last name Hincapie doesn't hurt, but this is a perfect example of, a young rider searching out a nutritional app on his own, because it's definitely not coming from me or coming from George that, hey, you need to track your calories and your micros and your macros. But he does it by himself, and he cooks for himself. I mean, at 16 years old, I maybe could heat up a quesadilla in the microwave, and Enzo's making full-on meals. And it's just proof that this sport has changed from having time to develop to basically coming out of the under 23s or even the juniors and going straight to pros and being at the top level. It's exciting to see, and I'm worried about, hey, do these guys want to have longevity in the sport? Do they care about that? Do they just want to go in and, win a couple races for a couple years and then just, go to the beach and relax and play golf the rest of their lives? I don't think there's going to be many of those young guys that have done 17 tours or 20 years in the Peloton.
Right. I think we're done with that. And you're coming out here soon. Did I hear that right, Bobby? You're coming to these parts?
Yeah, I'm going to head out. I haven't been to Aspen during the summer since I was probably a teenager. So my mom and my sister are coming up from Denver. I'm flying down with my two girls, and we're just going to have some family time, and then take them down Valley, down to Glenwood, and show them where I grew up, where I lived.
We call
where
that,
I learned.
Us swanky people up here, we call that Glentucky. But when you're here, and if you can squeeze me in, I want to go for a bike ride.
Take them on some good technical mountain bike trails.
Yeah, right.
No. I've been cut off from gravel and mountain biking because I did break my collarbone like a nunce about a month ago, and my wife is just like, "You're done with that stuff."
Oh, so. Angela. Ooh.
Hey, we got some good lake gravel coming up.
She cracked down. Oh, she's always been tough.
She was not happy when she had to pick me up.
Yeah, I was there. I witnessed the whole scene.
1-800-ANGELA. Come pick me up. Take me to the hospital. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming on. That's look. I mean, let's boil it down. I mean, it's the nutrition is so much of a part of this. I know we talked about it and thought about it, but Man.
Yep.
We'll.
It makes sense, right? Your car has a fuel tank. Everything you have. Your battery. Your computer has a little battery gauge. Like they're keeping that battery or that tank full.
Yeah.
Right. So it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
I was just
Hey, George, how long would it take you to get back to this hairstyle here? Are you
let's go back to that. Yes.
I'm almost there, man. I need a haircut bad. A month here with these guys.
You should see this man before we start the show. He's like the bathroom's like right. You can't see it, but it's over there. We can kind of see him in there, and he's just looking at himself. He does this little.
Yeah,
it's really
today was actually the opposite. You were
like, bro, just throw a hat on. Let's go. Most people are listening to this show.
Yeah.
Although you should be watching today if you do want to see George's
Buffon. We're on Peacock today.
From 1991. All right, did Bobby leave? All right, thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah, we'll put your socials in the description for everybody.
Yep.
Right. Okay, I want to just before what are you going on to questions and
I will. I was going to add one other thing, and then your big surprise.
Okay, here's my big surprise. Okay. All right, we have said this numerous times over the last 3 weeks, right? Most teams, well, the big teams come to win the Tour de France or win multiple stages. Obviously, Mark Cavendish came with the opportunity to break a record and make history. But a lot of teams come here, and these are sort of probably the mid-tier teams, right? So they're not the smallest budget. They're not the Ineoses and the UAEs with the huge budgets. They're somewhere in between. And they come into the Tour and they say, and this is how they would define success in the Tour de France. If and there's a big if around this, if they could win a stage and if they could put a rider in the top 10, right? We've said that.
Yep.
Check this out. All these other competitions are over. Yellow, green, polka dot is over. Go down to 10th and 11th place on the general classification tomorrow. All right. You got Julio Ciccone in 10th. You got Santiago Buitrago in 11th.
Colombian.
Right. 10th place. Ciccone's on Lidl Trek. Lost Matt Pedersen. Haven't done anything. You got Buitrago, Bahrain victorious. Haven't done anything. And so they're in 10th and 11th place, and they have the time trial tomorrow. I don't know anything about these guys. I don't know who can time trial, who cannot time trial. The difference between those two is 22 seconds. That is the most important time trial tomorrow. I mean, obviously, a Remco want to win a stage, et cetera. But I can promise you, those two guys are looking. They know it's 22 seconds. They know that the team came with some goal of putting a rider in the top 10. This is the most important time trial of their lives tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe it sounds anticlimactic for most. You got 10th in the Tour. It's a deal. It's a thing. 22 seconds separates 10th and 11th. I'll be watching that time trial.
You know who's going to enjoy the time trial more than anyone tomorrow? And he'll be second down the ramp. Right. Mark Cavendish.
Yeah. You know what? He should just miss the time cut. Just say, yeah, okay. All right, I won't start.
It's actually quite I rode the time trial. It's actually a hard time trial. You got to climb out of Monaco, descend down into, what's the name of that town? Like is it Turbie and then Ez, something like that. And then you got a really steep, like that little climb, that La Turbie climb. No, not the La Turbie. The
Col d'Ez.
The Col d'Ez. That's a little schnock of like 2K is steep.
Well, the first climb is 8.
Really
here
steep.
it is. We got the profile.
Yeah.
And this profile, I don't think does it justice. But the first climb up to La Turbie is 8 kilometers at almost 6%. And then that schnock up to Col d'Ez is 2 kilometers at 8%. And then it's just a twisty, fast downhill. Guys got to be careful. But it's, and then I think sort of begs the question or the curiosity of, do we see bike changes? I don't think so.
I think so.
Okay. Well, there's only one time trial to watch tomorrow. So I'm curious what the guy in 10th and the guy in 11th do. Speaking of the guy in 10th place, right? Giulio Ciccone. He's on Trek, Lidl Trek. I was like, wow, this is been a long time since, where's the next Italian, right? If you go, Italy's a top 5 powerhouse in this sport, right? You've got the northern countries. We know the countries. You got to go down to 56th place to find another Italian. This is, and it's all cyclical. The Americans had their moment. The French had their moment.
There's Ciccone. There's one. Ciccone.
Right. He's in 10th.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But after him, you've got to go down to.
Next one.
I'm just saying, Italy is clearly in this is in this part of the cycle where it's a lull, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, Spencer, you got to go back a long ways to find a Tour de France where you had 2 Italians in the top 60. Right? These are some of the guys who created the sport and the history and the heritage and all the results over 100 years. 2 Italians in the top 60? That's not normal.
No.
You guys, can I just get a little shout out for doing a little bit of research here? Y'all are just sitting there yawning.
I'm impressed.
I'm sitting here. I looked up who. When have I ever?
I'm actually impressed you went down to the 10th and 11th battle because that kind of slid by me too.
Well, we've been saying forever where the French been. They've got 3 wins.
Yeah,
It
they had
seems
a
to
great
be on the
tour.
They had a
rise.
decent tour.
Seems to be on the rise there.
Yeah.
They've had a decent tour.
But then Eritrea is the big story.
And arguably the best, not arguably the best French team of the year is coming away empty-handed. No stage wins. Decathlon. Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
All right. Little Ventum trivia.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is the last day to enter, and Dia will be here tomorrow for the drawing. Right? That's my understanding. Yesterday's question: name the 5 American cyclists, men and women, competing in the road race and time trials in the upcoming Paris Olympics. Those names are Brandon McNulty, Magnus Sheffield, Matteo Jorgensen, Chloe Dygert, and Taylor Knibb. It's K-N-I-B-B.
I think she's a triathlete.
Yeah, also
I don't hate
competing-
that team.
Also competing in the Olympic
Right.
triathlon. You're correct.
Both? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chloe Dygert, who's come back from some crazy
Oh,
injuries.
yeah. Oh, my
so
God. Come on, Chloe.
Hopefully she has
Come on.
a
That's
great
one of the
Olympics.
worst injuries in
Yeah,
cycling
so
I've ever
gross.
seen.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about Ginsu knife. It's been a minute since we talked about the Ginsu knife. I want to see Ginsu knife at work. Go look at that crash.
Yeah.
That was. Ugh.
And the last question to enter today: in what country did Ventum CEO Dia Noir get married?
Oh shit. Oh, yeah. No, I know that answer too.
Send it in to ventumracing.com/TheMove. And if you cannot wait till tomorrow and you want to get 20% off on your bike today, you can do it at ventumracing.com. Use the code TheMove20.
That's right.
All right.
Is that it?
No, one more quickie.
Okay.
though.
Sorry.
I know.
I didn't know if you were.
A quick one. Quick something here. Liam writes, I don't know if I missed this over the years, but I noticed today how many riders are not wearing cycling gloves, including Pogacar.
Yeah, I don't get
Is this
that
a
one.
temperature regulation thing or just personal preference?
So, I mean, I talked to myself today during the stage, and that when there was 4 or 5 guys left, I think there was one rider. I think Vingegaard's the only rider wearing gloves today.
Yeah.
That's just not.
I don't get it.
You can see
There's there's something to it, but I could not have done that as much as I sweat. I mean, my hands had to stay as dry as possible. You do not want sweaty hands on at any point in the race, but you certainly don't want them on the downhills. And I don't get it either, but I noticed that today. It's a great question, great point, and you see less and less. I mean, you see guys like Vanderpool, riding the classics with no gloves.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like you said, the slip factor, I feel like it's a lot more slippery without gloves. And 2, when you crash on your hands, there's nothing more painful than getting road rash on your hands.
Well, what's the first thing, if you can get your hands out or your arms out, what's the first thing you do? You put your hands out.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're on pavement, you're just going to chew up the bottom of your hands. Now, I will say, right, to these young kids out there, and because I'm 53 years old, and man, I look at my hands, I just look at these things, like, damn, that's a 53-year-old hand right there.
A lot of time in the sun.
Yeah, it's so gross. You're like, somebody looking at your hands, you're like, I know, yeah, a lot of miles, but I cover those hands. That's another PSA from We Do. Otherwise,
I agree.
you're going to look like this.
One more quick one, because I've been sitting on this one for a while. It says, hey, guys, just curious why this year are they cooling down on their time trial bikes? Is it because it's more comfortable, or they're trying to get used to the position for the last stage? Yep. I don't recall seeing as much of this before. Keep up the good work. And P.S., when are the limited edition We Do fanny packs hitting the merch store? That's from Mark in El Segundo, California.
Love El Segundo.
Definitely for just getting used to the position. They don't get to ride it much the whole month.
Right.
Maybe on the rest days and on the cool downs, they just want to be as dialed in as possible when they jump on those TT bikes for the races, when was it, stage 7 and the last stage?
I think they probably, too, thought that this time trial would be a lot more important. I mean, I think had they known in advance that the gaps would be what they are, they probably just cool down on their road bike. But they don't get a lot of time on their time trial bike, so why not use it? And it's an adjustment. The entire package and position and the muscles that you use are different. So I think they probably ride them on the rest days. That's the bike they ride on the rest day, just to keep going back and forth, so the body is ready for some sort of change.
Cool. Thanks, Mark. And the move at WeDo.team. And we'll be back tomorrow. It's one more to go.
One more. Today was the Bell Lap. Tomorrow's the last day. We're going to miss you guys.
All right. What? I almost goofed up.
Oh, my God.
Joe Natoli.
Oh, Lord.
Sent in.
You know what?
A surprise for George.
That's pretty funny, actually. I like that.
Live the Jizzy and Yizzy life.
That is from domestique to distinguished diplomat. I'll show you what it takes to win. You got a logo Jizzy. Hincapie Air, it says. And then on the right, join my 21-day seminar that will take you from zero to hero. And you've even got the Hincapie logo on the front of the Yizzy.
Yep.
And it says here, head on over to WeDo.team, cruise the Hincapie seas, and fly the Hincapie Air. And you're sipping. I mean, this man.
Yeah,
awesome. I'm so glad that lady said that. Whatever her name is.
Yeah,
I'd like it even better if you got the digits, so we could get on that Yizzy.
Yeah.
After this, we deserve some Yizzy time.
We do.
Did you get the digits?
Yeah, I got them.
She's supposed to be listening.
Yeah.
We used her thing. Joe Natoli used her thing.
Yeah.
Send us an email. Yizzy at WeDo, whatever. We'll make up the email for you.
We'll make up your own.
Send a smoke signal. We won't be on that Yizzy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you for the last date.